Okay, we're on. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. I hope you had a lovely week. Mike is back again and he just freaking loves you all so much. He decided to join us for another video. It's gonna be another sit down video because I didn't plan enough time to do a vlog this week because, you know, life got in the way. But it is going to be a really fun one. Today we are going to rate the cities of Toronto and Victoria. Yes, I have 15 different categories where we're going to decide which city is better, and we get to vote with these handy voting cards that I have printed off. Super fancy. They're even in black and white because the printer wouldn't print colour. So you get to have one, I'm gonna have one. And we're gonna vote for which city that we think each category wins. And we can't look and we have to just throw it up. So we have Victoria and Toronto. Oh, they flip perfectly as well, look at that. Wow.
Oh, that's great.
It's like I meant to do it. Let's get on with the categories. And if any of you have any conflicting opinions, or you don't agree with us, or you do agree with us, let us know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, as always, because this can be a very controversial subject. So if you didn't know, I have lived in Canada for almost 6 years. Mike is Canadian. We have lived in both Toronto and Victoria. We were in Toronto for almost 4 years. We've been in Victoria for 2 years. So we know a little bit about the cities, especially now we've kind of like had time to experience Victoria post, you know, kind of crazy COVID era. Let's get started. Okay, the first category of rating category, the category of which we're going to do, is the ease of finding somewhere to live. And now this can be kind of not only the ease of trying to find somewhere to live, but like the variety of places to live, the cost, all those kind of things can decide. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Which one did you pick? Oh, we picked separate. Now I picked Victoria because for my experience of finding it in Victoria was really, we got really lucky. So I don't really know too much about how it is at the minute, to be honest. Like we moved during, well, I moved during April 2020 when nobody was moving. So we kind of had to pick of the draw and we got really lucky. We like managed to find a place before we moved out here and we could like view it before, and yeah, like virtual viewing. So yeah, it was helpful. And I also find that Toronto is like super expensive. Why did you pick Toronto?
Based on current looking, so looking in Victoria now for places is very limited from what's available. But looking in Toronto, which I do for fun every now and then to see where prices are at, there's more availability.
Well, it's a bigger city, right?
It's a bigger city.
But is it in like, is it areas that you want to live in?
Oh yeah, I can't speak to the competition though. You see a posting, I don't know how quickly they're turning over still. Here it's pretty quick, but I don't know what it is in Toronto now. I remember we got lucky in both cities, but
yeah, we did. When we lived in Toronto, we lived in a place called Roncesvalles, and we moved in January 2016. We signed for our place in, no, we did not. We signed for our place in December 2016. We moved in January 2017. And that's kind of when the houses just dipped before they've just been going crazy. And so when we moved out of our apartment, the rent for the next people went up $500, which is crazy to me. Like I would never, it was such a small apartment and it was like a lovely apartment. It was in a nice building in a really great area. But oh my gosh, that was like such a jump.
Both are tricky, I think. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Next one, we have to kind of like go through these fairly quickly because we've got a lot to get through. The diversity of neighborhoods. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
No brainer.
Oh, we both That was so easy. Like you can't, Toronto is such a winner for, like you can get everything in Toronto. There's so many different neighborhoods. So you have like Little Italy, Little Poland, which was Roncesvalles where we lived. There was Greektown, Chinatown. Where else was there?
Little Portugal,
Little Portugal.
Little Korea. It's endless.
You have like the artsy district and the financial district and the fashion district. Just so many crazily good places to go. Yeah, the neighborhoods in Toronto. I do really miss that a lot. Okay, the next one, I think this is going to be a no-brainer too, is the access to nature Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was easy. Like, Victoria is just, that's a no-brainer. I think British Columbia in general is just like, you can't beat it. There's mountains, ocean, rainforest, amazing hiking trails,
Waterfalls,
like
just
waterfalls,
right in your backyard.
ocean, whales, you know, seals, otters, whales. Did I mention whales?
Starfish has it yesterday.
So much nature, whereas Toronto is a concrete jungle, and it does have some nature. Like if you go up north and stuff, like you can see stuff, but it's nothing like BC and Alberta, or like like when you think of Canada, you think of those mountains and the like blue lakes and stuff. Like that's where you find it. So that one was a no-brainer. The next category is the ease of travel, and that's like travel. It can be provincially, it can be internationally. Are we ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. That's so. I mean, we're on an island in Victoria, so like.
If it was Vancouver, it'd be a different answer. Well, they'd be on par with each other, I think.
Definitely, yeah. It's just, I think for Victoria it's very difficult because usually you always have to get to the mainland first. So you either have to fly to Vancouver, you have to get the ferry to Vancouver.
It's not cheap.
And it's kind of, you know, it's an extra flight or journey or whatever, or you have to like end up staying in a hotel or whatever. Things can be more expensive. Also, if you want to even travel on the island, like there's only one highway up and down the island. So if everyone's going to, you know, if you're going to go to Tofino, for example, on a busy weekend, it's going to be like a 6, maybe even 7-hour drive. Like it is not easy to get around. But I mean, if you could fly and stuff, like, you know, we have cruise liners here. I don't know. But yeah. The next category is public transportation. 3, 2, 1. I was gonna say, as if it's gotta be Toronto.
I mean, everybody complains about the TTC, but you've got it good.
It's so true, I know.
Yeah.
I used to complain about the TTC, especially when it would break down in the dead of winter. That was so annoying.
I mean, it's nothing like the Tube. It's nothing like New York City, but for Canada, it's
compared to Victoria. Good. I mean, to be fair though, Victoria doesn't need that kind of public transportation because it's smaller.
Could use a tram line or something though.
But do you know what? All I want is a train between Victoria and Langford. Just give me a train between Victoria and Langford. Or like going up to Nanaimo, you know, just a train. A train from, oh my gosh. That would be, can you imagine if they had I mean, obviously it's probably impossible because of the, you know, the landscape. But if they had a train to Tofino, that would be insane.
That'd be nuts.
Yeah, I miss trains. I think I grew up, you know, being on buses and trains, being in the UK, so I do miss it. I do miss the TTC. I never thought I would say that, but I really do. Okay, the next category is bars and restaurants.
Oh, this one pains me. 3, 2, 1.
Oh my gosh, Toronto is really having a time. Yeah, Toronto beats Victoria. So, I mean, obviously, again, because it's a big city.
Makes sense.
Even, like, if I was to compare Vancouver and Toronto, I would still go with Toronto.
Same.
Toronto has, like, an unbelievable restaurant scene. Like it's just, it's so good. There's so many incredible bars and restaurants and just any, you know, cafes, coffee shops, anything and everything, bakeries.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just, they have everything. Like Toronto has everything. Like, and you can always, if you're craving anything from around the world, you can always find a good version of it in Toronto. Yeah. Pretty much. I think there's nothing really that was ever like, oh, I'm struggling to find it in Toronto. Maybe Mexican food. Actually, no, there was still like good tacos. They were really good, but yeah, Toronto's. I think it's probably the best place in Canada for that, to be honest, in my opinion, my most humble opinion. Not to say that there isn't good stuff in Victoria, there is, but there's just less of it, and it's not quite on the same level. People are gonna hate us for this.
It's coming.
The next category is, this is kind of a similar vibe. Nightlife. Are you ready? You want to count down?
Yeah. Oh, do I want to count down? 3, 2, 1.
Again, no brainer. Big city. Like, there's so much to do in Toronto, especially nightlife. Like, I'm not a big nightlife person, personally, but like, yeah, like sports, theatre. Oh my gosh. If there's one thing that I could bring from Toronto, like one thing only, it would be the theatres. Just give me the theatres. I miss going to see musicals and plays so much. That was like my thing in Toronto. I loved it so much, and they have it in Vancouver, but again, getting to Vancouver is the issue. I miss that so much. There's so much to do in Toronto for nightlife. Even if you don't like just, you know, going to bars and nightclubs and stuff, there's just so much to do.
Yeah.
Concerts, yeah. I miss it all. Next category is things to do. Now this can be things to do like city-esque things to do, or it can also like a mix of like hiking or like
it's also personal preference
like boating, like just in general. Do you find that there's more things to do in Toronto or more things to do in Victoria? 3,
2,
1. You said Victoria! No way! I'm surprised.
It's more diversity of things to do here.
Why?
If you really need to go to a concert or a game, you can go to Vancouver for the weekend.
So what kind of things would you say you do in Victoria? Golf all year round?
All year round, yeah.
That's one of the big things.
Biking is nice because everything looks nice and the trails are awesome. Even just walking is awesome here. Yeah, but going hiking, going up the coast, going to the city if you need to in Vancouver, downtown, you can still go out for dinner and drinks. Like, there are places to go. Whale watching tours every now and then are a lot of fun. So boating is a big thing.
I think for me, I chose Victoria because there is the kind of city stuff, but I'm not a big city person other than theatres and museums and things. I'm not a huge like city, like go out and spend a bunch of money and go to loads of bars and restaurants and stuff. I just like a diversity of things. So I'm very much like a nature person. I love to hike. There's so much hiking. I can bike in Victoria. I never liked biking in Toronto. It made me really uncomfortable. We've recently got a paddleboard, so we can do paddleboarding. Camping, I think there's more here, but we've discovered it's way more difficult to like get a site.
To book, yeah.
I think Ontario might be a little bit better for summer camping because of the weather, but like
just also for heat and stuff, yeah.
The amount of campsites.
The beaches here are sweet.
But yeah, like you have beaches, you know, you can go. A lot of like nature-oriented things, like whale watching or like float plane trips that you can do.
Just like looking outside.
Just, it's nice. I don't know, I feel like I'm a much more fulfilled person. I feel like there's a lot more like, well, there's not a lot more, but I feel like I've gone to a lot more like seeked out, more like classes and things to do like that. I feel like I'm way more busy in Victoria than I ever was in Toronto, which is funny because in Toronto it was like very busy and bustling. But yeah, I feel like there is more to do. Personally for me, that's what I like to do here. Other than the theatres, I still miss those so much. Okay, the next category, shopping, which includes variety and availability. You ready?
Variety and availability. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, Toronto. It's really
Makes
hard.
sense.
Yeah, it definitely. Again,
I mean,
Toronto's it's kind of harder
because
like Toronto is like a huge international big city, and you have literally everything, like everything you could ever need, and like it's more of a convenience thing because like Victoria doesn't have an Apple store, for example. So if you know one of your devices breaks, you have to like send it off, and it's a big to-do. Or you know, if you want to get something from IKEA, you've got to get it either shipped or you've got to go over to Vancouver. Or there's just, you know, like outlet stores, or if you need specific things, it's a lot more difficult to get it in Victoria because there's just not as much on the island, unfortunately. There are a lot of cool boutique stores and stuff there, which is really nice, and like a lot of like artisanal makers and like a lot of great people that we've discovered in Victoria. But for variety and availability to like just day-to-day life, Toronto definitely has it. Next one, this might be controversial. Job opportunities, which include variety, salaries, etc.
Job opportunities.
Now this is also gonna really depend on
a lot.
Your industry, but I'm gonna do it for like general people, I think.
Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, I feel like I've picked some like really like Toronto heavy categories. I think that the job market is really good in Victoria, especially for a city of its size, and it is one of, I think it's either the most educated or the second most educated city in Canada. And so there is a lot going on, especially if you want to work in like government, tech, tourism, anything to do with the ocean.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of opportunities for those kind of people. Hospitality, those kind of things. But generally for like the wider market, I have only just started to kind of notice why people leave for their career. So I think there's a lot of like jobs to get people in, like entry-level jobs, and there's kind of a lot of jobs where people are like on the other end, where they're kind of like senior management, or like they're senior in their position, or they're a little bit further along. But I think there's less in the middle. There's less to kind of grow your career. There's less opportunities to like grow your career if you're on like that kind of like career path. Like I think a lot of people tend to leave Victoria and then come back later because there's just more opportunities to kind of grow and, you know, develop and have like a different job to kind of accelerate your career faster. Toronto just, it has everything. I think there's more competition in Toronto.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Be hard
but
to
like
actually get in the door.
Exactly. I think that is very true. I think it's probably easier to get in the door in Victoria, but I think Toronto probably has more opportunities for people like in the middle of their career and like more for growth, and like, you know, if you're potentially wanting to like switch careers or get experience in another place, like I think Toronto definitely has, you know, those bigger industries. And like, for example, finance is huge in Toronto. If you're in film and television, like Toronto is really big, just like Vancouver, and things like that. So yeah. Toronto wins. Victoria's not doing very good considering we live here. The next category I have is the ease of meeting people and making friends. This is really hard. Oh, I don't even know. I need to think about this one for a second. Okay. Okay. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1. Toronto. I don't know.
What did you do?
I'm like, I think they're like the same. Like they're the same for me. I think that they're both really difficult to make friends in. I think that both, like when I was in Toronto, it took me about 3 years to really get settled. And here, like with the pandemic, it's taken a little bit longer.
I guess there's the pandemic factor. Yeah, I had an easier time in Toronto.
Yeah, but you're also from that area.
I had a base though.
Like you also have friends, so I think it's probably you're gonna meet people through the people that you already know. You had like friends and family. Yeah. Whereas like, you know, if we didn't start with that, would it be easier? I think that Toronto can be really lonely. Although you can definitely, I don't think I like tried to find friends as much when we were in Toronto because you already had like a base of friends, and like we already had like you had family and stuff. Whereas I think here we've tried more to like find a social circle. And so yeah, I think they're both really difficult, but there's definitely opportunities. I think that more people, that's hard. I was gonna say more people move to Victoria, but like over half of Toronto people that live in Toronto weren't born in Toronto. So, but they're obviously more widely dispersed. I don't know, I feel like I knew a lot of people, like most people that are in Toronto that were Canadians were from Ontario. Yeah. Whereas I feel like here, most people move to the island. Right. Like there's a lot more Canadians that are from Ontario. And I think as soon as you hear that someone's from another province, especially Ontario, there's a lot of people from Ontario and Victoria, you've kind of already got like a talking point and you're kind of like on the same level. So yeah, I don't know. They're both difficult. The next category, this is going to be one for you since you're an ex-teacher. Oh. Well, technically not because it's going to be post-secondary, but it's going to be education. So like kind of like availability of education, like variety of education, things like that.
3, 2, 1 by a mile.
Toronto. Oh, I want to say Victoria.
No.
I mean, well, I think Victoria's got easier, or everywhere's got easier since people have done like virtual classes and stuff. Yeah. Like I've done a few virtual classes in Victoria, but I wouldn't have been able to do them if they were physical because the university is based in Vancouver. So yeah, my experience, Toronto's definitely, I mean, it has more universities in Toronto. Yeah. You're also on like the same time zone as like New York. So like if you want to do like virtual classes in that kind of like the eastern part of the US, it's a lot easier.
You could also in theory commute to the universities outside of Toronto.
That is very true.
The university, which is another.
I think you have a lot more like niche subjects too. So like you had your wine course that you went to in Toronto.
There's a lot of
acting, lots of like acting classes and film and television stuff in Toronto. So Yeah, it is very, it's like Canada's New York.
Population.
Toronto wins. I think Toronto's actually won this whole thing. If there's gonna be a winner and loser.
Depending on what your tastes are, right?
Oh, this one's gonna be a Victoria one. Okay, next category. Weather. 3, 2, 1.
Well, again, like, yeah, for me. But depending what
I thought you said Toronto.
No. But depending what you like. If you like snow and you like hot heat, then yeah, Toronto, you're gonna love it.
Who the heck loves like minus 30 and then plus 30?
I do like the autumns in Toronto.
Okay, yeah. To be fair, fall, autumn and fall.
Yeah, that's like my favorite time of year.
Is the best in, not in Toronto, in Ontario.
In Ontario in general.
But every other, and like the summers though for like camping, like the hot summers for camping are nice, but like it gets so freaking hot. It's so humid, and then and it's only for a short period. It's like 3 months or something, and then for the rest of the year, it's like freezing cold, snowy, icy. Just like I hate everything and everyone kind of weather. Like Victoria is so much nicer. We've had a very kind of damp start of the year, very kind of like unseasonal start this year, but we've just kind of like hit the summertime, and it's so nice because it's not really hot. It's still, you know, pretty dry. It's not humid, and our winters are like really short. They're not even, to me it feels like it's fall and it goes into spring. That's kind of how it feels. It doesn't really feel like we have a winter. We'll have like a couple of days of snow. Yeah. Although last winter you had a few days of, I was out of the country, but you had a few days.
We had a week of snow. It happens every now and then.
Which is very weird. Victoria weather.
Melts pretty quick.
So much better than Toronto. And that's like a major reason for me that Victoria is
on the top why we came here.
An easier place to live. The penultimate category. Day trip / weekend trip opportunities. 3, 2, 1. Oh! You're kidding! Day trip to opportunities in Toronto? Where are you gonna go? Kingston?
No, Niagara and...
Oh, Niagara. What a fun place to... No, Niagara's great for like a one-time.
Right? I mean, there's enough to do for day trips in...
Yeah, but in comparison to Victoria...
I was thinking more weekends though. I was like, hey, New York, East Coast, Quebec City. Here, arguably, you can go to Seattle, you can go up Island, you can go to Vancouver. That's why I evened it out. Day trips though, definitely there.
I think Victoria is so much better. Yeah. For day trips, like you can go anywhere on the island and like you can go to freaking Willows Beach and spend the day there and it's amazing. Or, you know, there's like Nanaimo, East Souk, you know, if you want to go for a weekend, Tofino, Ucluelet, Courtney, we have skiing on the island.
Maybe Victoria does take that.
So much, like, just for, like, you know, great, like, hiking trails and, like, you know, the lakes for
the Gulf Islands, too.
You know, there's, Salt Spring Island. Yeah. And then if you want to go for weekend trips, like, it is easy. Like, if you're going to plan, like, a long weekend trip, like, you know, if you get on the float plane, like I've taken the float plane to Vancouver for like a day before and it's great. It takes like half an hour from Victoria Harbour and you can go straight to either YVR, which is Vancouver Airport, or into the harbour. And then if you want to go to Washington State, like Seattle or Port Angeles, like you can literally get on the ferry right in Victoria Harbour and it takes you there. Like it's so great for like those weekend trips. Like we went to Kelowna for the weekend, as you probably saw in our videos. We took like a 40-minute flight. Like for me, there's way more to see on this side of the country that I'm more interested in than the East Coast. I'm definitely more of a West Coast lover than an East Coast. Last category. This is going to be controversial. This is going to get people to probably not be happy with us.
Let's do it.
We'll see. Okay, this is on people. So the diversity of people, the attitude of people, how you've kind of experienced people in general. Are you ready?
The attitude of people?
Yeah, like, you know, their...
politeness and everything and...
Yeah, politeness or like general...
Just general?
Yeah, just in general, like how pleasantness. You ready?
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Oh, interesting. I didn't know. Yeah, I find not that there's anything wrong with people in Victoria. Like I've met some of the loveliest people that I know in Victoria, but there's something about people in Toronto which I just jive with. I almost said vibe with, and I was like, no, don't say that word. I resonate with people in Toronto. I feel like
even hear people who are from there.
That bigger city mentality where you have just like I don't know, a more diverse range of people. It really is like a very much of a melting pot of like ethnicities in Toronto.
No.
And there's just like people who are like very well traveled. Like usually that, you know, they've either, most people that we met in Toronto have traveled all over the world. And I don't know, people are very open in Toronto. You think like, because it's a big city, people are less, but I don't know. I found that people were really open in Toronto. Like they're just more welcoming. I think in Victoria it can be quite, and I mean this with if you're from Victoria or from the island, I mean this with like the best intentions. I find that people can be quite cliquey, and because people, especially if they've like been born and raised on the island and they have family here. For us personally, I think that we just vibe better with them, in my opinion. But Victorians are really lovely too. So if you are from here, please don't hate me. I think you're all great. Okay.
Who won?
That's it. Oh, I didn't even keep track. Okay, let me just track. Okay.
I think Toronto won.
Yeah. 11.
Whoops.
Toronto got 11 out of 15. Which,
love it here. It's
okay,
fine.
to be fair, there was a lot of like
questions I don't know.
City focused, but I genuinely I couldn't live in Toronto just because I'm not a big city person, and I didn't like the weather, and also Ontario was kind of not the place that I wanted to live. But Toronto is a great city, and if you love cities, I think most people would prefer Toronto to Victoria, to be honest. If you like the slower, more chill pace of life, you're like access to nature and stuff, I think Victoria, and like, you know, better weather. Yeah. I do think that Victoria is the place to be, but like I personally prefer Victoria. I think personally, I prefer living in Victoria over Toronto, even though like those categories, because it's priorities too, right? Like certain priorities are different. Like I don't really care that much about clubs and nightclubs, but I really care about access to nature. So come see, come ça. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I hope that these answers have not made you dislike us in any way. If you do disagree or you do agree, let me know down below. I would love to hear what you have to say. It's always interesting to share our thoughts. Just please be nice. Thank you. And if you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification so you know when I next post a video. I do post them every single week. They're usually about life in Canada, living abroad, travel related stuff and things like that. So if you do enjoy it, make sure to do all of those things. Also follow me on Instagram if you want to see my day-to-day ramblings. And yeah, that's all we got for you. Until my next one, I hope you have the most wonderful week, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye.
See ya.